What in the world did I just sit through? What did I just witness? I'm pretty sure I just had years shaved off the back end of my life. What a tough, ugly watch this game was, and on top of it, they lost. They lost.
When the Indiana Fever took the court Saturday night against the Los Angeles Sparks, fans anticipated a competitive matchup. But what unfolded was yet another glaring example of questionable officiating in the WNBA. And this time, the missteps couldn't be ignored.
Now here's the one thing with that last play that I'm speaking about. It seemed like they called it a loose ball foul at first, which would have been favorable for us because we have him in the bonus. Yeah, we were in the bonus with 5.5 minutes left to go. First time all season, I was shocked. We grabbed the rebound. Looked like they called it a loose ball foul. Yes, we can go to the free throw line. Oh, they changed it. Reset time.
The Fever fell to the struggling Sparks, 89-87, but the score wasn't the real headline. What truly stood out was the blatant disregard for player safety, as referees turned a blind eye while Sophie Cunningham had her face grabbed in plain view, right in front of them.
The LA Sparks just got the spark versus the Fever for some reason, man. But the Sparks always have matched up well with the Fever since last season, man. Tough ending for the Fever girls. Just some missed free throws, some questionable shots. Could have got it, man. Close game. I ain't even mad. The intensity is there, man. This team, if they can keep up this intensity, is going to be real nice when Caitlin Clark gets...
This wasn't just another off night for the officials. It was a blatant display of systemic referee bias that laid bare everything wrong with WNBA officiating. Sophie Cunningham was literally tackled to the ground during what began as a 50-50th play, then had her face grabbed, all in full view, and the referees did absolutely nothing.
And the referees, let's just blame the referees and say, hey, but you called a loose ball foul. This was a game that we should have won. Again. And a game that we lost, unfortunately. 89-87, Los Angeles Sparks defeat the...
Meanwhile, Sydney Carlson made a textbook defensive play, cleanly grabbing the ball with both hands. Yet the same referees inexplicably whistled her for a foul. The absurdity only escalated when they spent nearly 5 minutes reviewing the play at the monitor, debating what was clearly a legal move. It was a moment that perfectly captured the inconsistency and confusion plaguing WNBA officiating.
A disaster. This was a disaster. The Indiana Fever cannot keep losing to teams like the LA Sparks if they're supposed to be a good team. And Rickea Jackson, she just flat abused the Fever in the last 3 minutes of the game. Seriously, what?
The contradiction was nothing short of mind-boggling. Sophie Cunningham gets tackled to the ground and has her face grabbed, and the officials respond with complete indifference, as if they're watching paint dry. Yet when Sydney Carlson makes a textbook defensive play using nothing but her hands on the ball, the refs suddenly spring to life, quick with the whistle. The hypocrisy was so glaring that even the broadcasters couldn't hide their confusion at the sheer inconsistency on display.
Sydney Carlson, man, shout out to her, dog. I can't overlook her. 6 points, 5 assists, 2 rebounds with that intelligent block. Like it. 2 of 4 from the floor and then 2 of 3 from the 3. I mean, she was shooting like she was the scorer of the team. She put on her airy bag tonight.
If you're enjoying the content, don't forget to subscribe. This is the same Sophie Cunningham who has been relentlessly targeted all season for doing what's right, standing up for her teammates. She was the one who stepped in when Caitlin Clark was being repeatedly mauled by opponents, and now, ironically, she's the one left unprotected while the officials look the other way. Saturday night's footage shows Cunningham being grabbed around the neck by Julie Vanloo during what should have been a routine loose ball situation. But instead of calling the obvious foul, the referees ruled it a jump ball, as if violent contact to the face and neck is just part of the game.
And we talk about this. We are circled on everybody's schedule. everyone, no one likes us, right? So everyone in our locker room, that's the only type of people that we have that we can lean on, and we got to be better in that area. We have got to stay disciplined, we have to stay focused, we need to get consistent, and we got to lean on each other. And I think that we've kind of wavered a little bit on that. We have our own islands, but you know, as one of the leaders on the team, I got to do a better job of grouping people, right? In the fourth.
What makes this even more infuriating is that we're talking about the same referee crew that spent an eternity at the monitor reviewing Sydney Cowlson's clean block on Rocket Jackson. Cowlson made a perfect defensive play, only touching the ball. Yet, the refs initially called it a foul and then needed 5 minutes of deliberation to overturn their obviously wrong call. The fact that they had to challenge such a clear defensive play shows just how lost these officials are. The pattern here isn't just bad officiating, it's selective enforcement that protects certain players while leaving others vulnerable to assault. When Cunningham gets grabbed by the face, suddenly the refs develop selective blindness. But when Cowlson makes a clean defensive play, they're ready to blow the whistle faster than you can blink. This double standard has been plaguing the Indiana Fever all season long, and Saturday night was just the most blatant example yet.
They went with Lexi Hall in the starting lineup, and she was just trying to get charge calls all night, trying to get the charge calls because she was lacking with the size with Rakia Jackson. So I understood why she was doing it and trying to get Rakia in foul trouble. It was smart. But at the end of the day, that last play, you never flop and give the ref the game to call. You never flop in the clutch moment, man. I'm sorry, I did not.
The absurdity hit its peak when you remember who the Fever lost to: the Los Angeles Sparks, one of the worst teams in the WNBA this season. Entering the game with a 5-13 record, the Sparks held the second worst standing in the league and have struggled mightily all year. Yet somehow, they pulled off a win, thanks in large part to the referees turning a blind eye to blatant fouls while calling phantom violations on clean defensive plays. Caitlin Clark's absence was deeply felt, and for all the analysts claiming the Fever are better without her, this game exposed just how delusional that take really is. It was painfully obvious the team was missing its superstar. With Clark on the floor, this likely would have been a comfortable win. Instead, the Fever were left fighting not just the Sparks, but the officials as well, and all without their best player.
Here, let's point out the obvious. A lot of people said it. We can officially rest in peace. R.I.P. Undertaker, Tombstone Piledriver. The theory that this team is better without Caitlin Clark. ESPN, you got your ears on? We can officially Tombstone Piledrive that BS. If you can't see how incredibly limited the Indiana Fever are on offense without CC, you're either not watching or you don't know what you're watching.
The Indiana Fever may sit at 9-9, but at this point, it feels more like 10 losses just to the officials. Game after game, they're not just battling their opponents, they're fighting against a system of officiating that seems determined to work against them when your team has to burn challenges on blatantly obvious calls and gets zero protection from violent contact. It's clear the system is broken. Early in the game, Sophie Cunningham was grabbed around the neck by Julie Vanloo while diving for a loose ball. Clear, deliberate, and unnecessary contact. Any competent referee would have immediately called it what it was: a dangerous foul with serious potential for escalation. Instead, these officials waved it off as a jump ball and carried on like nothing happened. Even worse, there was no concern shown for Cunningham's safety after the play. Nothing but silence from the very people meant to protect the players. Meanwhile, Sydney Cowlson was hit with a foul on a completely legal defensive block, a textbook play. The Fever were forced to use a challenge on something that should have been obvious to anyone watching. And to top it off, the referees spent nearly 5 minutes at the monitor debating what was clearly good defense. Just think about the message that sends: grab a player around the face and neck, no problem, play on, execute a clean defensive stop. That's a foul worthy of extended video review. The contradiction is stunning, the bias is undeniable, and the officiating is so blatantly incompetent that it borders on criminal negligence. These refs aren't just failing at their jobs, they're putting player safety at risk with every selectively enforced call.
And also Howard was doing a big one too. 8 of 11 from the field, 21 points, had 4 turnovers. Have to take care of that ball, but 2 blocks, 1 steal, 3 assists, and 9 rebounds. Howard has been consistently giving us everything she got out there, man. So I have to give it to her. She's been giving us everything she got. So shout out to her. Yeah, they took care of the ball pretty well today. They took care of the ball pretty well.
Colson, 5 assists, no turnover. Colson, she played herself a good game. Michaela Timpson, 5 points, 1 block, really 2 blocks. I'm not sure why it's only talked about as 1. 6 rebounds. Michaela Timpson looked great today. Michaela Timpson looked pretty good today. I gotta be honest. 3 fouls in 12 minutes, not what you would like to see. 1 foul was definitely